Hey guys, welcome back to the Strong Girl Goss podcast. Hope you're good.
Welcome back.
So, today we're bringing you a very timely episode, one that we've been chatting about between us ourselves, actually maintaining the January momentum. Obviously, January naturally comes with a little bit of motivation, a little bit of momentum. Maybe you've had a little bit of a kick up the bum to start something to do with fitness, nutrition, whatever it might be. So we're just going to talk you through today our best tips and tricks to help you maintain that so that it's not just a 30-day thing.
There's something called Quitter's Day, isn't there? And I don't like.
Oh my God, yeah. I forgot that existed.
It's like, I think it was like last week. It's
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah, like just after mid-Jan. But it is true. Like, I don't like the word quitters, right? But like, yeah, it is true because a lot of people do jump on the hype. The start of Jan, new year, new me, fresh energy. But then, like, it's really hard to maintain. And usually it's because they've maybe gone too hard. Maybe you've jumped from 75 hard and it's actually not serving you. Or, maybe you've just not found the thing that is for you training wise yet. So this episode is all about how you can make sure that you don't go onto the quitters list. Even if you've already quit, we can pull you back now and take you into February with us with a whole new load of momentum. But before we do, a little reminder.
Bit like not on fitness this week, but kind of in social media. Just reminder that it is not real life. Like, I put something on my story the other day where I was like, oh, I've been feeling anxious. And then people were like, oh my God, hope you're okay. And actually, I am fine. Like, that day I was fine. I just think it's really easy to see something on social media and think that that's the whole picture. I put something positive on, people think that I have a lovely positive life. I put something on about being anxious, people think I'm anxious all the time. Like, it's very black and white. So it's really hard to work out how a person feels or the reality of their life. So just try not to compare yourself, because that's something that I've really been seeing this week. It's just not, it's really hard to be real on there. So take it with a pinch of salt.
I love that because I personally, if I didn't have a business, I wouldn't have social media just because believe it or not, like you might think, well, you both spend so much time on it, but you've got to remember that it's so important for like the roles that we do. Like if I didn't have a business that required it, I wouldn't. Like I don't have personal accounts on Instagram or anything like where I post like day to day of my life, just because, yeah, for that reason, it's so easy to fall into like a scroll hole, getting into like comparison mode. And yeah, I think it's a really good reminder of like everything you see isn't always the truth, isn't always real. Take everything you see with a pinch of salt. Everyone shows the highlights. We're all guilty of it. It's like a made-up world, isn't it, really? The one that I had was, if January didn't go as you planned and wasn't your month, like, that's okay. Like, just know that you're not on your own, please, because January hasn't gone the way that I maybe hoped for, or maybe it has every other year or whatever. And I just think, like, that's fine. And it can be hard, again, when you're seeing everyone around you celebrate or saying, January was such a good month, and you just think, it wasn't for me, and it can really make you feel a bit crap or a bit overwhelmed. But yeah, just a reminder of like, if January wasn't your month, we've still got time. February is the month where you can bounce back or make it a better month. But I think that's also, it's a really good one going into this episode of like, February is going to be what you make of it, right? So trying to carry on that momentum that you may or may not have built in January. So it could be a case of you've got yourself into a routine, you're ready to maintain it in Feb, or like I was just saying, maybe you did nothing in Jan, and maybe actually Feb is a clean slate for you. Whichever situation you are in right now, I'm sure this episode will help.
Yeah, so I would say have a think back to your January. How did it go? Like, we do this quite a lot, but if you want to pause the episodes and just have a think about what went well, what maybe tripped you up a bit, what shocked you about building a new routine, building towards your goals, and just really thinking about what worked and what didn't work. Because what you can do then is look at what worked, bring that into February with you, and leave behind the things that didn't work. But if you do want to pause, just have a little think, have a little write down, if that's your thing, about what went well and what you can carry forwards into February with you.
yeah, taking the actual time to just think, like, okay, like, what did go well, what didn't go so well, what do I want to get out of February? Because often we go through life a bit blind, do not think, like, we just keep going by the months passes by, when actually if you just took a bit of time to reflect and get intentional of, like, okay, what is it that I want out of Feb, like, you find that you'll get so much further. But some quick fire points, if you like, to kind of help. I'd say starting off first of all with the best way that you can build momentum into Feb and for the rest of 2025 with your training especially is to really move your focus away from your body image. Like, if you've started a goal in January, or you started the gym to achieve a body goal, such as fat loss or more muscle, whatever it is, like, that might have been something great to get you motivated to get started. Now, what is going to carry you through to next month and going on is trying to lean into enjoying your training. Me and Ella are really big on performance and really focusing onto a program that you enjoy, maybe performance goals. Because if you are just so focused on, has my body changed yet? Have I lost weight yet? Have I dropped inches? Have I sculpted? Have I grew that bicep figure? Do you know, when you're like constantly just monitoring your progress like that, it's not a motivating factor enough to keep you in it.
Yeah, definitely. It has to be something that is overarching and is not just a goal that gets you towards the end of Jan, because then what do you do after that? It has to be something that you can constantly raise the bar for, that you can constantly change and evolve with, like whether it's a specific lift, like your deadlift, for example. When you hit that 45 kg, okay, what's next? Maybe I want to aim for 60 kg within the year, and looking at it that way so that you always have something to aim for. So performance is always going to be the top of our list anyway. But I think one of my biggest things, which I'm really leaning into at the moment, especially when, you know, January, it is hard to just get out and do your steps, train when you want to be on the sofa, is routines. And we spoke about routines in our last episode, morning and evening routines. If you want to go back and listen to that, I would recommend if it's something you struggle with. But your biggest habits and your biggest changes in your life come from your daily routines and the small things that you do that stack on top of each other. So whether that's waking up, having a glass of water, doing a 10-minute stretch, and then journaling, whether that's on your lunch break, going to the gym for 45 minutes, then having a high protein lunch, and that's just what you do every day. Your success and your outcomes are going to be built in your routines. And when you build that routine and that habit of doing those things every day because you know that they make you feel good, you're not going to want to stop it because that's just what you do. Your body has rhythm and you'll want to go along with it. So building out a sustainable routine that you can carry through the whole year with you into February and beyond is going to be so important for your overarching progress.
Programming, obviously not just performance goals, but programming. If you have got through January and maybe you've not seen the progress that you was hoping for, whether that was with a body goal or performance goal, or just even enjoyment, right? Like, you've started the gym and you're thinking, it's not really hitting, like, I do want to give up. I don't know if I can carry that momentum on into February. Review what kind of program are you on. If you listen to this, I'm gonna guess that you're interested in strength training, right? Like, this is what we're about. So is it a case of you've started and you've been hopping around all the weighted machines, and again, it's just not quite hitting? Like, take the time to review before. It can be easy just to keep going for the sake of it. Like, I've done it with programs in the past. I'm sure I've talked about it literally on the podcast, where you kept going because it's like, I must finish it. Maybe it's like an 8-12 week program and you're like, right, I need to get to the end. But I actually would say now's a really good time to just go, right, is this working for me? In February, do I need to change direction? Is this actually aligning with what I'm even working towards? Did I just find this 3 workout program online and actually it's not quite hitting? I think now's a really good time to go, right, is my program providing me with what it needs to get me to where I want to be?
Yeah, and looking at, like you say, if that aligns with your goals. One thing that kind of comes off the back of that, which I talk about quite a lot, is intensity. So we'll link it back to 75 Hard because I feel like we've spoken about 75 Hard in literally every single January episode, but it is relevant, I promise. if you have done something like 75 hard, or you've gone super hard for January and really just trying to push yourself, see how far you can get, then okay, fine, great, well done, first of all. Well done for making a start. But it's looking at how now that intensity is going to be sustainable. So looking at the past 4 weeks of January, a lot of us have much less social plans. A lot of us do dry January. A lot of us get more sleep because of less social plans. And we generally just have more free time because there's not much going on. So understand that the intensity you built up in January may not carry over into February, into the rest of the year, purely because the intensity that you are performing at now, whether that's going to the gym 5 times a week, doing 15,000 steps a day, whatever it might be, whatever that intensity looks like for you, you might not be able to match that with good recovery in the following months. So January, you may be able to put loads of time into sleeping well, recovering well, but February might be that little bit more busy for you. And you might get into February with the same routine, same intensity that you built up in January and go, why am I so burnt out? Why is this feeling so hard? Consistency and progress is going to look different depending on how well you're able to recover from the intensity that you are performing to.
Yeah, sure. I think to kind of summarize, I think it's just really leaning into a few key points. So, first of all, I would say enjoyment, making sure what you are doing is enjoyable, not just training, but with your food. Are you eating foods you actually hate? Like, or are you cutting out the things that you really love? So, enjoyment, ask yourself, pause if you want to right now. Is what you are currently doing enjoyable? Is it going to be enjoyable going into Feb? Next, sustainable. Like Ella was just saying, like, are the approaches that you maybe took in January or even in the past, if it wasn't January, are they sustainable? Like, are you able to keep them going through Feb and beyond Feb? Or actually, is it asking so much from you that you can't sustain it going forwards? They're so important that you've got to enjoy it. You've got to be able to sustain it. And I would also lastly add on to that, like, how challenging is it for you? So kind of tying in with that intensity, but like going talk about training in particular, like if it's not challenging you, if it's not pushing you, if it's not rewarding enough, if you're not applying progressive overload, if you're not seeing that progress, whether that's with your performance, with your body changing, you're going to want to sack it off, right? So I would personally be reviewing these 3 things: enjoyment, sustainability, and intensity. Like, how challenging is your current routines?
Yeah, so have a little think. Again, pause the episode. No, but seriously, sit down with a little plan for Feb and, reflect on January to create that plan, whether that be creating a new routine for yourself, adding something new into it, taking something away. It's just being prepared so that you don't feel like you are being thrown into a new month where you suddenly don't have all of this motivation and things don't feel fresh and new. They just feel a bit dark, cold, boring, and monotonous. So, whatever it is that you have found has made January a little bit challenging, because we're all going to have challenges in our fitness journey, right? Like, my biggest one at the moment is getting to the gym. It's just slightly too far for me. So, it's like looking at that personal challenge and going, okay, how can I adjust that so that it's easier for me to do, so that it's 10 minutes down the road instead of 25, whatever it is. Looking at your personal challenges and seeing how you can change that going into the new months.
For sure. And don't ask too much from yourself. I think that's an important note to kind of close on. Like, don't ask too much from yourself. If you did go a little bit too hard in January, hopefully this has been your reminder to just pull it back a bit. Like, your fitness journey is something that is timeless, and I will constantly say that. Like, this journey is something that hopefully you are looking to keep embarking on for the rest of the year and beyond, right? So don't feel that pressure of like having to have gone so hard in January where you've got no other choice but to fall off it in February. It doesn't have to be like that.
So we hope you enjoyed this, guys. We hope this was helpful. So go away, set a little plan for yourself, whether it be big or small or even less than January, Everything is valid as long as it's sustainable. So go away, have a think, and have a great Feb.
And if you've got any questions, drop into our DMs. If you are currently thinking, oh, I'm tempted to just sack it all off into February, please drop into our DMs, because hopefully we can just have a chat and pull you out of that mindset, because it really does start up here as well. It's that mentality of like, right, no, this is a journey. It's not something that was temporary. It's not something that I was just doing for January. It's something I actually want to continue with for the rest of the year.
We love that. Sustainability.
Always. See you next week.
See you next week, guys.